You're heading out on an overnight walk soon. You're going away for 2 days, overnight hike, self-sufficient, out on the track. You're going on a track? I'm not going on a track on this walk. We're going to go through what is in this pack, what I'm taking on an overnight walk. It's about 12, 13 hours of walking, 7 hours on the first day, 5 hours on the second day. We're going to be overnight, off track, in the scrub. This is my kit. It's ready to go. Do you want to see what's in this pack? Let's get into it. Let's have a look at what's in this pack for this video, and we'll take you through what I take on an overnight hike here in Tasmania, in Australia. Let's get into it. All right, if you're liking the video and you want to watch more of these, don't forget to like, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Would love to have you back here, but in the meantime, let's get back to the video just after you hit that button. There you go, like. All right, back to the video. Hey everyone, welcome back. So we're heading out on a overnight walk, pretty arduous overnight walk off track in just a few days time. In the meantime, I've got to fly to Melbourne for a few days, come back that evening, and then I drive out the next morning for an overnight walk. Big walk that day, all off track, no track, lots of scrub. So I'm about to fly out in the next couple of hours, but I thought I better pack some gear and get ready. So just to sort of show you my process, I have just been down to the storeroom where I keep my gear, and I've just gone through all my stuff. I know off the top of my head roughly what I need. I toss it into my pack, then I will come up here, sort it out, and then I will go through and check it out as a final thing the night before I go. We'll cut to that shortly, but we're just going to go through, see what I'm packing for an overnight walk in very scrubby terrain. Looks like a little bit of rain, but it's going to be around 15 degrees Celsius. It's going to be pretty warm, not too cold. So let's have a look at what I've got in the day pack, overnight pack. And I'm just not used to overnights. I'm used to either going on day walks or like a 10-day mission. An overnight walk's not that common a thing for me, believe it or not. I'm used to more multi-night walks, but we're going to have a quick look, have a look at what we've got. Let's get into it. So, in no particular order, I will try and separate this up as best as I can. So for this trip, we're taking the Hyperlight Mountain Gear Southwest 4400. Don't use it that often. I use it mainly for day walks now and shorter trips where, you know, anything less than sort of 4 nights. Great pack, very light. That's what we'll be taking on this trip. I've had it since about 2017, still going very strong. First thing out of the pack is the Arc'teryx Nuclei jacket. That's my new favorite sort of outer insulation layer, my layering sort of warmth layer. That will be coming. We'll talk more about gloves, but I always take my Montbell Chemise gloves just for around camp. I love them. Some other hardcore gloves in a minute. In terms of shelter, I think we're going the tarp tent Stratospire Lee. There's going to be 2 of us. Very lightweight tent. It's a hiking pole tent, but I will take the poles. I won't be taking trekking poles on this trip, so the poles will be coming. And of course, our footwear, we've got some gaiters because it's going to be very scrubby. It's going to be quite rough. And I've got my La Sportiva Ultra Raptor boots, just a more runner style boot, a bit more athletic, a bit lighter. They will be coming on this trip. I've just got a few carbon core stakes for the tent as well, just extra ones because it could get a bit windy. I want to make sure it's completely secure while I'm out there. I've got 3 Cedar Summit Ultrasil stuff sacks. They are for food, they are for bits and pieces. I keep my warmth jacket and my gloves that I wear on the track and a beanie in one of these, just so they're easy at hand near the top of my pack. We've got this awesome little pouch. I'll try and remember where I got that from. I think I got it from Mountain Laurel Designs, maybe in the States. But that's my pouch, that's my kit that I keep. So I keep in there things like my spoon, my compass, my plasma lighter, which I've talked about in other videos. I keep my pocket knife with an N, K and an N. I keep my beanie in there, or in the other bag, but that's just my Ditty Bag, I guess some people call it. That's what I keep in there. Also keep in the lid for my water bladder, which has a hose on it normally. In addition to that, I've got my Hyperlight repack, which is what I reconstitute my dehydrated meals in. We will shoot to food in a sec about what I'm taking for food. That is the Hyperlight shoulder pocket for the pack. That goes on this as well as my bigger Porter pack. That is a great little thing. I put my phone in there. I'll put a mic in there if I've got one with me. That mic, and that sits on the shoulder of the pack. Very awesome little bit of gear. That's just my very lightweight ultralight air towel things, so I can wipe my face, wipe sweat off, that sort of thing. That is extremely light. It's about 18 grams. That comes. Also take this flask on this trip. It could be very dry, so we want as much water as possible. So in addition to this, the Hydrapack Flux flask, which I recommended as a gift a little while ago. I've also got the Drumlight bladder, 6 litres. That will be filled up probably 3 litres at the start of the walk. I've got, of course, in terms of first aid, I've got my snakebite kit. That is my first aid and toiletries. So it's just a few band-aids, a few blister kits. The snakebite kit has the 3 compression bandages, 2 triangular bandages, and that's about it. And that's very small. And in there also, I've got a little bit of toothpaste to brush my teeth with a small toothbrush. Day pack, because we are walking for about 5 hours. Then we are walking out to a peak and back to camp. I am going to take a day pack for this trip. Even though I've got this pack, we're just going to dump packs and go on a mission. It's a big day. So I've got this Arcadia Supply Company day pack, which I really love. It's waterproof. It straps over really well. I don't take this on longer walks, but for a walk like this where I can take a little bit of extra weight, I will take that because that is a good day pack that I like for little missions like this. I've got the Helinox ground chair, talked about that before. That comes on every trip, no matter where I'm going. Always bring the chair. Small stuff sacks. I bring heaps of stuff sacks up so I don't have to keep going and looking for them. There is my Cedar Summit, just plastic cup, very lightweight, about 48 grams from memory. That comes from my hot cocoa at night. Toilet paper, that is the hose for my drum light bladder. So the drum light will sit in the front of the pack. This will screw on. That's why I've also got the lid for around camp, but that is there. And I'm going to need to carry a bit of water on this trip because we're on a ridge line. There's no water. There's a lake we can go down to potentially, but can't really be bothered going down through scrub to a lake. I think I'd rather just carry the water. Then we're getting down the bottom here to clothing. So we've got my old Patagonia hoodie fleece, very lightweight, very thin fleece that I take. Comes on every trip for the last 4 or 5 years. That is my layer that I put on under my jacket if it's getting cold. Of course, the Temres gloves, I talk about them all the time. Best glove I've ever come across for hiking and for outdoor and winter and cold. They just come on every trip. They're good in the scrub. They're good in the cold. They keep your hands warm, they keep your hands dry, and they're awesome. Link is below for them. Montane Prism pants. They're my warm pants that I wear over the top of my thermals if I need to. I only wear them around camp. I don't wear them while I'm walking. Generally, it'd have to be very cold for me to wear them walking. I never have worn them walking. And then we're down to the bottom of the barrel. We've got the cat hole trowel for obvious reasons. We've got the Patagonia thermal weight Capoline thermals, tops and bottoms. Top has the crew neck zip scenario. Been wearing them for 7 or 8 years now. Awesome thermals. Those thermals have come on every trip since. That's everything that's in the pack currently. In terms of cooking, we're taking, for the 2 of us, we're taking a Jetboil Minimo. That is coming with 1 small canister. That's all I sort of had kicking around, but that is just one of the smallest ones with the Jetboil Minimo. That's a good little stove I've had for about a year and it runs very well. Good for 2 people. I like that. In terms of sleeping, I'm taking the Catabatic Alsec quilt. Love this quilt. I've talked about that before. That is coming along. Very light, 680 something grams, I think, from memory. That is coming. In terms of thermarests, I have not decided, but I reckon I'm just taking the regular sized Thermarest Neo Air X Light, just because of the weight factor. I want to be light on this trip. That is going to come. What else have we got? Waterproofs. Well, the Arc'teryx Beta AR jacket is coming on this trip for sure. Love that jacket. Thought about a lighter weight one, but there's a lot of scrub, a lot of things going on. So I need the durability of that thing, along with the Patagonia Torrent Shell pants, which I've worn on a few trips now. They're good. They're very good. Then we've also neglected one thing, which is here somewhere, which I'll find in a sec, but that's my scrub gloves. They're coming too. Just my gardening gloves that I take on every trip. Actually, I did pack them. They're here somewhere. Other gear, just general bits and pieces. I've got the map of the area I'm going to, of course. I've got my Petzl Bindi head torch. That's all that's coming there. I've got a new pillow that I'm trying out on this trip called the Trekology pillow. Reviews well. I'll let you know how that goes out on the track. We'll also take the Flex Tail pump for the Thermarest. We'll take a backup battery, the Charmist battery. And for photo and video, I'll take a GoPro with a Wind Slayer mic. I will take that, and I'll take my iPhone. That will be about it. I'll have a hat on. I'll have the shirt that I'm going to put on the day. I'll have some shorts, the Phoenix watch, and I think that is about it. But I thought I'd quickly do this before I go to Melbourne. I just wanted to get my gear out, start getting organised. Then we're going to come back in a few days, and we're going to pack the gear, get it finalised, sorted, come back in a sec. With the magic of film, we're going to go from today, which is Friday, right through to Monday. Yep, we're back here. It's Monday, and like I said, I've been away for the weekend. I got all my stuff out, so all I had to do was pack it before I head out tomorrow. So I'm here, it is late afternoon, and I'm just getting ready to go tomorrow, getting up early, heading on this walk. One night, but pretty rough terrain, very scrubby, very rough, no tracks, and we're heading out for one night and expecting a fair bit of rain. So we're gonna go through my kit. It really makes no difference whether or not I'm expecting a lot of rain or not. I'm taking the same gear regardless. So we're just gonna run through and I'm gonna pack this as I go. I will probably do one more repack after I make this video just to make sure. But I'll show you my packing scenario, my packing breakdown, and let's get into it straight away. We got my Southwest pack, which we talked about. We're gonna get that open. Now that is empty. I've got my pack liner in there. I always take a pack liner in my pack. I can't stress over the years how important it is to line your pack with a pack liner. It doesn't have to be a fancy pants seat or someone like this. It can be a trash compactor bag, it can be a rubbish bag, something plastic, but it needs to be waterproof and something that you can ideally roll the top on like this, so you can protect everything that's in that main compartment. You do not want to be in a situation where water gets into your pack and all your stuff gets wet. Even using this, I've had stuff get wet back in the past, not for a long time, but I'm super vigilant about it. I never use a pack cover. These Hyperlite packs are pretty much waterproof. I've used pack covers back in the day. I just find they're ineffective. They end up blowing off your pack, especially in scrub. I just don't like them. I haven't found a pack cover that fits well enough to completely protect your pack and keep the water off it anyway. And with these things, they don't really absorb water. Water runs off it. It's going to get wet anyway. Your pack cover, I really don't see the point of them. As long as you have a good pack liner, I think that is the best thing you can do. Don't worry about a pack cover. That's my policy anyway. Other people beg to differ. Fair enough. But yep, we've got our pack cover in there. And generally, some people will say to pack the heaviest stuff at the bottom. I do sort of pack it within the first 2 or 3 layers. But one of the heavier things can be your tent. And because I'm the designated tent carrier with this trip, there's 2 of us going, I'm not going to put that on the bottom of my pack. It's a very light tent, the Stratus by Lee. So I am going to pack that near the top. So when we get to camp, I can just rip it out straight away out of the top and start setting up camp, and all my other stuff can stay in my pack while camp gets set up, especially if it is raining. I don't want to get all my stuff out and get it wet. This tent will be near the top. So that'll be one of the last things in. I'll just toss it over there. So first up, we're going to pack my quilt, my Catabatic quilt, Alsec quilt. And even though I've got a pack liner and I've got a waterproof system going, I still put my pack in its stuff sack inside a plastic bag, because the last thing I want is for my quilt to get wet and to arrive at camp with a wet quilt or a wet sleeping bag. So I've been doing this for years. It has never failed me. I always pack just a light plastic bag inside my stuff sack, and I will put that in there and I will get this in the bag. Then I just twist the bag a bit at the top so nothing can get in there. I'm just vigilant about this stuff. In Tasmania, where you can just be in rain for days and days, you do not want stuff getting wet. It is awful if it does get wet. So I always do this. Somehow there's a string got caught in there, but that's good. All right, then that is one of my first items in the pack. Well, it's my first item in the pack, going right down the bottom, because I'm not going to need that till I'm cozy in my tent. So it can live right down the bottom, very protected down there, and that is in. Next up, I've got my pad. I'm taking just a regular firm Neo Air X Lite, like I said. That will go down around that sleeping bag. I mean, some people do fold these like so, which I think I'll do today. Just wraps around that sleeping bag a bit. I try not to have this on sitting on the outside of my pack in case I put my pack down on some scrub with a spike or something. I just am wary of that. So it sort of sits in around on top of my sleeping bag. Feeling pretty good, that pack. It's only got 2 things in it though. Then we are going into spare clothing territory. That's what I'm going to do next. So with my clothing, the stuff that I know I'm not going to need till camp, ideally, I'm 99% sure I won't need it till camp unless it's really bad weather. That's my thermals, tops and bottoms, one pair of socks spare, in addition to the pair that I'm wearing. My Silverlight socks, talked about them before. This is going in this little stuff sack, which is an Ultraseal stuff sack, which compacts down, is pretty waterproof, water resistant, and I can get a lot of stuff. This is a tiny stuff sack. It is, I'll put that on the screen when I find the literage, but very small. I take this same stuff sack on a 9-day trip for all my spare clothes. So spare clothes in there, that's my thermals, my pants, and a pair of socks. I'm not taking any spare undies on this, just leave it on the edge, one night only. And that is a very tiny bag, and like I said, I would take that same thing on a 9-day trip. That's what I took the start of this year on a 9-day trip. with my spare clothes. If I was on a longer trip, I might have a pair of undies spare, maybe one pair of extra socks, maybe, and maybe a very lightweight spare hiking shirt, but I doubt that very much. That goes in next down here, and that is sitting on top of the sleeping bag and the mat, forming just some firm layering in there, so it's all nice and compact and packed down into the pack. Now, I haven't got a whole lot of gear on this trip, really, in the scheme of things, because the food is minimal. Next up, I would pack my stove. I'm taking this the Jetboil Mini Mo. I could take something smaller, but for this trip, we are just taking the Mini Mo, and it will pretty much not quite fit like that. Anyway, my partner on this trip is Walzer, of course. He is bringing the meal dinner. He will probably carry that stove and the gas canister, because I'm carrying the tent. That's the way we normally do things. He's also bringing dinner, so that will probably even out. Maybe I'll win out there slightly on weight, but for the scenario of this video, I'm going to pack all this in my pack. So the stove will go down next, and that can sort of sit externally on the pack a bit, fill up some of that space on the outer bit, and the canister will sit there as well. All right, they're in. Then next up, I'm going to be putting in the food that I'm not going to need on the track when we're walking tomorrow. So that is things like my breakfast, just one Radix meal, breakfast apple cinnamon, very nice. That weighs, which is that weigh? 87 grams for brekkie. I'm just going to pack this stuff in a stuff sack, just an Ultra Seal stuff sack like that, Cedar Summit, just your standard one of them just for all my food. So that, I just like to keep it in a stuff sack. And a cool thing I have been starting to use is these Quinline reusable like snap lock bags. Awesome little bags. Go into them in more detail at another video, but I've just got a pouch for each thing. I could even rehydrate meals in these if I wanted to. They're really good. I also put in there my Hyperlight repack that goes in with my meals, so I can easily find it, which I use to reconstitute my meals. Then these are all my snacks for the whole trip. I'm going to be like a 3 or 4 snack bar kind of guy tomorrow, I think. So I'll get 4 of them out. Just some Carmen's protein bars, Snickers, another bar, just some general stuff. And I've got a couple of bars of chocolate and a little bag of nuts, and that'll be enough for me for 2 days. I know that. So really not much food, very little food. And they will just roll the top on that, and that goes down, and that will just find another little spot around that sleeping bag, around those stoves, just filling in the gaps in that pack. So I can get it all packed down, get it like one little compacted unit, is that what you call it? I don't know. You know, that is in there, looking good. This pack, so nice and light. Then, what are we gonna go next? Well, then I've got things like my pillow. This is a Trekology pillow, which I'm trying for the first time. This is my FlexTail pump with just the attachment I need. They will just go in there. I mean, I could put them in a stuff sack. I don't think I will, because it's extra weight I don't need. So they're just I'm just gonna toss them in there, down around the front, and just fill in another little gap with them. Overnight walk, it's all good. Next up, now there isn't a whole lot left to pack here really, so what I'm going to do, stuff I wear on the track, and there's 2 main things I keep at hand at all times. That is my fleece jacket and my warm insulation jacket that I can chuck on when I'm having a break. I can put this stuff on as quickly as I need to, and generally, actually what I might do first is put my tent in. Sorry, change of plan, because the tent will still be pretty close to the top. But with the Stratus Lee, I've got the 2 extra poles. I'm not taking trekking poles, so I'm just taking the tent poles for this. I've got a few carbon core stakes in there. I've got 4 of them, and that is going in next, straight up, like so. Just careful that the tent is nicely packed, and I can fit that lengthways across. So that is now across in there. You can see it's sort of as wide as the pack, so it stretches the pack a little bit. That's all good. That is in. That's looking good. Happy with that. Then I will put the poles inside the pack. I never, ever pack my tent on the outside of my pack. I don't like to have any gear hanging off the outside of my pack. When you're in the scrub in Tasmania, it will rip stuff off the sides of your pack. Unless it is sewn onto the pack, it will rip it off in your thick scrub. Even on tracks, on those thicker tracks like in the Arthur Ranges, where you come across that more overgrown sections of track, it will pull stuff off your pack. I have one story from about 23 years ago, when we were walking up Luckman's Lead on the Arthur Ranges, and my mate had the tent poles on the outside of his pack. We've walked through some thick overgrown, on a track, overgrown area, and we got to camp a couple of hours after he lost them and found we had no tent poles. That was an interesting evening, but yeah, ever since then, even then I didn't like to do it. Ever since then, I definitely don't do it. So nothing goes on the outside of the pack. If I can't fit it on the inside of the pack, then I reassess whether or not that piece of gear should be coming. But always get just as much as you can inside the pack. Next up, what do we got? Well, I've got my tiny little first aid kit with a few band-aids, blister kit. I've got my snake bite kit. That keeps near the top as well, so that will sit on top of that tent in case I need it. And the snake bite kit just goes down in the back of the pack, sort of there. Bit of cushion on the back. I mean, there is a light frame in this pack, but it's pretty good. So you can see there what we've got happening. So yep, the snake bite kit just goes down into there. You can see getting some good packing. So we've got the poles, we've got the tent. It's all going in there very nicely. And that is looking good. Next up, might want this if I have a break on the track for lunch. That is my Helinox chair. That comes pretty much every time, like I have said in the past. That goes down the front, in front of the tent. That's packing down well too, so I can still see the tent there. Chair is in. Then we've just got these bits of stragglers and stuff. So far I've only used one stuff sack, I think, haven't I? Two. Then I have got my insulation jacket and my fleece. They will go in next. And I just pack them loose. And what I do with the jackets and my fleece, I just stuff them down the front and fill in all those gaps. So you can get a nice tight fit around the pack. It's nice and compacted down. Can check down the back there, there's any padding down there needed. I'll put my fleece down there. Then I can just rip those out as I need them on the track when I stop for a break. I'll just pull them out and then do the same to put them back in. So they're done. That is standing nicely, very nice. Then there's not much left. There is my glove system. The chemise gloves go in for camp. They'll love them around camp. My scrub gloves, they'll be coming out early, so I'll have this bag very handy. My beanie, my smart wool beanie. I think I'm just gonna take one beanie on this trip. I talked about taking a spare one, but I think that smart wool one will be fine. Then we've got the Temras gloves. I talk about these all the time, but they are incredible gloves for scrub, for cold. They keep your hands dry, warm. Your hands warm up quickly in them and get dry quickly. I'm probably going to start selling some of them soon, I hope. We'll see how we go. And then I'm also going to chuck in this bag as well, because I can, my day pack, which I'm taking. That goes in there. And I'll also chuck in the map of the region I'm going to. The hard copy map is in there. So that's going in the top. There's really not much left to pack here. Pretty much there. Then my Ditty Bag. Actually, I'll also put in my cup. Just a lightweight plastic Cedar Summit cup. Very light. That's going in the top as well. What have we got left here? We've just got our toiletries. Toilet system goes in this lightweight Osprey bag with a bit of, I'm not going to take that soapy stuff, just with a bit of sanitizer. I keep that in there with my spade. That all just goes in there, wraps up. I know that bag's bright yellow. If I need it, it is there at hand. Should I need it? I've got my Hyperlight Mountain Gear shoulder pocket. That's where my phone goes on the front strap of the pack. That comes. And then we are down to the last couple of items which we wear, or which go on the exterior of the pack. Okay, so then I've got the two essential items. I've got my raincoat and my overpants. I always live in the top of my pack. If I'm starting out dry, then they'll just go in the top. But before I put them in, I will generally get this liner, roll it up and clip it together. And now that is impenetrable to water. Then these go in on top. I can get them straight away if I need to. They are in. Roll the top of the pack up. Bang. So there we go. Clipping off final bit there. That is looking pretty compact. What else do I need on there? I've just got one more thing. Got my water bladder. I'm taking a big water bladder because water, even though we're going to have lots of rain, may be limited, and we're not going to be near a water source that I can see. So we are relying, probably going to carry 6 litres of water, probably plus my drink bottle, which is 1 litre for this. So that's going to weigh down a bit, but I'll have that bladder hanging out, kitted up. That's ready to go. Then on the exterior also, on this Hyperlight pack, I am going to do this. I put my snacks, I put 2 or 3 bars in each side, and this is so good. I can get 4 bars in that one side. They're going in there. Done. That pack is ready to go. It's feeling very light and very nice, I have to say. It's going to run in this. I'm going to run in this pack. Maybe not, but it's good. It's feeling good. Pack's done. In addition, I'm also going to be taking my iPhone. Don't know about the GoPro yet. That may come. If I do, it'll be on the gear list, which I will leave a link to below. In terms of what we're wearing, when we start out, we're going to have the La Sportiva Raptor shoes. We're going to have these are new shorts. Haven't worn them yet. Silverlight shorts who make my socks, which I'll be wearing as well, giving them a go. The old Patagonia, I think Wind Air Chaser shirt or something. I've had that for years. It's a good one. And then we'll also have my gaiters. That's it. That's what we're starting in. I think that's everything. So that's what we're heading out in. Overnight walk, very rough conditions. Hope you found this video helpful. If you've got any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. That's what I generally would take for most walks. Might be some stuff come in or out depending on where I'm going, but that is a pretty good kit. So that's it. That's what I would be taking. Would love to hear your comments, your suggestions, what gear you're using. Tell us what walks you're doing. Leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you do subscribe, hit that little bell button as well, and you will get notified of when the weekly video comes out. And don't forget to sign up to the newsletter too. That comes out every month. We talk about walks. Probably talk about this walk in the next one. I don't know. Sign up to that as well. We'll see you on the next one. Hope you're getting out the trail too, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in the studio on Mauser, and I'll go and do this walk and let you know how it go. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.